Okay, students, good morning, good afternoon. I want you to take the note sheet that we have on parallel lines and transversal and fill in the notes as we go over this. You guys know what parallel lines are. Parallel lines are two lines that never intersect. Arrows on lines indicate that they are parallel. These two lines, L and M, are parallel. Symbol for parallel is just a set of lines close together like that. A line that intersects, two or more lines is called a transversal. So this line right here would, I can't tell what that says. This looks like L. I don't know if that's an I, but that line would be your transversal. We're just going to call it line I. In the diagram to the left, we've got L is parallel to M, and you want to be sure and do L in lowercase cursive. Oh, okay, and the transversal is T. That's a T right here, so let's make that a T. Okay. All right, so now let's look at corresponding angles. Corresponding angles are in the same position on the parallel lines in relation to the transversal. So you've got line T right here. That's your transversal, crosses two parallel lines. And it says in the same position on the transversal, and these angles are always congruent. Okay, so let me show you what I mean by that. We have angle 1 right here and angle 5. Angle 1 is congruent to angle 5. Those two would be corresponding, same side of transversal, same position. We would have angle 2 and angle 6. Angle 2 is congruent to angle 6. And then below we have 4 and 8. Angle 4 is congruent to angle 8. And then we have angles 3 and angle 7. So angle 3 is congruent to angle 7. Those are called corresponding angles. Same position of the parallel lines. They're on the same side of the parallel line of the transversal, and they're in the same position. Like these are both above the parallel lines on the right side. These are both above on the left side. Angle 3 and angle 7 are both below the parallel line on the right side, and 4 and 8 are both on the left side in the same position. Alternate interior angles are on the inside of the parallel lines, and when I talk about inside, I mean between L and M, so they've got to lie between these two lines, and they are on opposite sides of the transversal. These angles are always congruent. So let's look at the alternate interior angles. I have angle 4, and remember they're on opposite sides, but they're inside, so angle 4 is congruent to angle 6. And then we have angle 3 and angle 5. Angle 3, I left off the 3. Angle 3 is congruent to angle 5. And again, they're both on the inside of the parallel lines and the opposite sides. and they are congruent. Next, we have alternate exterior angles. So alternate opposite sides, exterior on the outside of the parallel line. So I'm talking, it could be these angles or these angles. And alternate exterior angles are always congruent. So you would have angle 1 and angle 7. Angle 1 is congruent to angle 7. And then another pair, you would have angle 2 and angle 8. Angle 2 is congruent to angle 8. And then finally, consecutive interior angles. This is not something that you hear very often. I've heard that very little. But interior angles means it's on the inside and the same side of the transversal, inside the parallel lines. These angles are always, they're not congruent, but, and if you look consecutive interior angles, we have angles 3 and angle 6. They're definitely not congruent. Angle 3 is obtuse, angle 6 is acute, but together they are supplementary, meaning they have a total of 180 degrees when you add them together. So what this means is angle 3 and angle 6, and I'm going to put a little m in front of angle 3. That means the measure of angle 3 plus the measure of angle 6, measure of angle 3 plus the measure of angle 6 equals 180 degrees. And also, I'm going to run out of room, so I'm going to write it right here, consecutive interior. I've got angles 4 and 5. So the measure of angle 4 plus the measure of angle 5 also equals 180 degrees. Okay. It says, use the diagram to the left, classify each angle pair, and indicate whether they are congruent or supplementary. So angles 1 and 5, I have this angle and this angle. First of all, they're outside, they're exterior. Here's my transversal. Here are the parallel lines. These are not inside the parallel lines, so they're exterior. Think about it for just a minute. What kind of angles would these be called? And there would be alternate exterior angles. And we know that alternate exterior angles are congruent. So we are just going to write alternate exterior, and they are congruent. Okay, let's do one more. Angle 6 and angle 8. I'm going to do two arcs there. Angles 6 and 8. And these are on the same side of the transversal. Here's your transversal, and they're both in the same position. So in this case, they're both below the parallel line, kind of sideways, but they are congruent. So they are corresponding angles. Corresponding angles. And corresponding angles are congruent. Okay, complete the rest of 3 through 8, and then once you are finished with that, I want you to do numbers 1 through 5. What we're going to do, like it says, given P is parallel to Q, what's the measure of angle 1 is 68 degrees. So if angle 1 is 68 degrees, I can find angle 2. These are supplementary, and I can take 180 degrees and subtract, and the measure of angle 2 is 112 degrees. Well, now keep in mind, okay, next we have angle 6. Well, angles 2 and 6 are corresponding. They're both above the parallel lines, and they're in the same position on the same side of the transversal. And so the measure of angle 6 would also have to be 112 degrees. Take a look at angle 3. We have angle 3 is supplementary to angle 1. So once again, angle 3 would be 112 degrees. And then from there, we can find the rest of the measures. Angle 7 corresponds with angle 5. Is that angle 5? I'm sorry, that's angle 3. Angle 3 and angle 7 are corresponding, so that would also be 112 degrees here. Angle 4 is supplementary to angle 2, so that would be 68 degrees. Angle 8 corresponds with angle 4, so that would make them congruent. That would also be 68 degrees. And then we've got angle 5, which is supplementary. 5 and 6 together equal 180 degrees. So 180 minus 112 is 68 degrees. Go ahead and finish the rest of these, and good luck.